Hey everybody, welcome to another stream of, I don't know what we call ourselves anymore, Sounding Off, American in Crimea, West of Freedom, uh,
Worry-free Russia, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Worry Free Russia, yeah. So, but we have breaking news for you tonight, some information on the new decree. So we have with us our esteemed guest, Moscow lawyer extraordinaire on immigration, Timur Beslangurov,
Hi,
and
everyone.
he will tell us what's new in the immigration realm on the new. What's it officially called, Timur? The shared value visa, or are we just making names up?
Well, officially, it's called a single entry 3-month private visa. But that's the official name, yeah. But I think not for everyone it sounds extraordinary or too ordinary, it sounds. Therefore, of course, many people actually heard the shared value visa from someone and they kind of liked it. So, yeah, I also call it shared value visa. But basically, it's, yeah, as we discussed last time, it's an immigration visa to Russia.
Eddie?
Yes.
Oh, you look like you had a thought on your mind.
No, I don't. I'm responding to some comments right now. So go ahead, take it.
Okay, well, so Timur, excuse me. We were talking earlier, and you said that Moscow was now handling applications for the new immigration stuff?
Correct, yes. Moscow immigration authorities, Nizhny Novgorod immigration authorities, Nizhny told me about that long time ago. They just said, yeah, we just wait for list of the countries. As soon as it's out, we are ready to accept the applications. Moscow also started, I think, as of yesterday to do that, which is good. And to comment on that, the question that everyone had, whether those foreign nationals that are from the countries on the list, whether they could apply using their current visas. Yeah, because there are quite a few people that came, let's say, on tourist visas, but with the purposes that this decree has set before the decree came out. And the question was whether they would be able to apply based on their tourist visa or other visas that they have right now without necessity to exit Russia and apply for this private visa. So apparently that's the case, which is great. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, if people came for the purposes trying to get out of the, let's say, the wokeness, yeah, and the rainbow, and those other similar reasons, but they came before the decree and such visa didn't exist, they should benefit from being able to apply without them having to exit and apply for the private visa under the new decree. We will be planning to file first cases next week. We'll see how it goes. With regards to the actual temporary residency permit process, yeah, the decree didn't touch it from the point of view nothing changes except that there is no quota and no Russian language test. So the list of documents is stayed the same, the procedures is the same. Yeah, the whole temporary residency permit process is governed by an existing laws that existed for many years. So there are no surprises there. Yeah, still the same list of documents except for the Russian language test. But we'll see, hopefully next week, whether there are successful applications made. But apparently, just from the fact that immigration authorities started to accept these applications, or at least started to say that, yes, we can accept such applications, that potentially means that, yeah, there is no necessity for those ones that are already in Russia to get the private visa. Also, I think there was in the news about a month ago or month and a half ago, there was a message from the Russian immigration officials that I think within the last year, there were about 400 applications made for temporary asylum, and 400 people from the Western countries basically received temporary asylum in Russia. They definitely fall. Yeah. They definitely fall. They all can apply for the 3-year temporary residency based on this decree. Now, another information is that one of our clients today was able to file for the private visa, actually, shared value visa being approved. So he filed in the Russian consulate in Bangkok, actually. He filed in Bangkok. Yeah, but he's a citizen of a country which is on the list, but he filed in Bangkok, and so this means that hopefully not only that particular consulate is ready to accept, but other consulates are also ready to accept, because the fact that he's filed, this means that he filled out an application which exists, which is also great news. Yeah.
Timur, could I interrupt you here just to ask, would you advise others to wait until something's officially announced, or if they're in a country that's already on the list and they want to apply for this 90-day visa, that they go ahead and attempt to submit an application? What's your recommendation?
Well, I would reply to this from a different angle. I think we discussed it again on our last stream. Yeah, I don't advise to file unless you are ready. Yeah, what I mean is that, okay, the visa that the person will get is a 3-month visa. And let's say you file tomorrow, in a week you'll get your 3-month visa, and the clock starts ticking of your 3 months. But have you prepared the documents that you need to bring with yourself? Did you do the apostilled criminal background check? Do you have all your papers in order? If you do, then of course it's worth applying. If you don't, and then you get the visa and then you start preparing your documents, I don't see the point, because the visa will run out and you'll have to apply again. Or you get a visa, you come to Russia and then try to get those documents from Russia, which is also possible, but probably not the best thing. I think when we spoke a month ago, I told guys, everyone has to do their homework. If you're ready to move to Russia, do the homework, apply for the criminal background check, get it apostilled the marriage certificates, birth certificates, do that thing, because that will come eventually, and it did come. Yeah, as of today, the first person was able to apply. So my advice comes from a different angle. Yeah, get the documents in order, or maybe other things. Yeah, like, I don't know, if somebody wants to sell the stuff that they have, that's what needs to be done, because we know that it's not that easy to sell a property. In case somebody wants to do it and not just come out and see what's Russia is about. Then we also have some clients that say, okay, I'm ready to go, let's do it. That's great, but okay, we as responsible type of, let's say, professionals, we kind of ask the questions, okay, what you're going to be planning to do? You want employment? Well, the Russian language test right now is not a requirement, but I think it's pretty hard to find employment in Russia without Russian language. Yeah? So I think it has to be a thought-through decision, thought-through process, and kind of well-prepared. The possibility is there, but let's be, I would say, responsible adults.
So, since this guy was on the list, but he applied in Bangkok, does that mean they don't have to go home to their country of citizenship to apply?
The rule is that you can apply in a third country, provided you have a long-term visa, residency, at least that is more than for 6 months. So he has the residency in Thailand, and so that's why he was able to apply.
Okay.
Again, so, for Americans, For Americans, by the bilateral agreement between Russia and the United States, which was still signed during the period of, you remember, Lavrov and Hillary Clinton were pushing the red reset button. At that moment, back in 2011, they signed the bilateral agreement on visas between Russia and the United States, under which American citizens can apply for certain type of visas in any country in the world, and private visa is one of those. Again, that's not my set in stone guarantee that any American can apply in any country in the world right now, because I don't know the actual internal rules of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but this bilateral agreement is valid. Yeah, and Americans, as you know, can apply for tourist visa in any country in the world. So I'm pretty sure they should be able to do the same for this particular visa as well.
Timur, we have a question here. You mentioned it just a moment ago, but can you confirm that the 3-month visa, that 90-day window starts to tick down from the time they receive the visa, or that's from the time that they submit the TRP application, or is that the time that they enter Russia? When does that 90-day window start?
Again, I can say from the moment, so when a person comes to the consulate and fills out the application, they write what date they would like the visa to start. Yeah, so you go tomorrow, you say, I want my visa from 1st of October. Okay, 1st of October maybe it's too fast because the processing time may be a week, but let's say 1st of November. And then from that moment, whether you entered Russia or you didn't enter Russia, the time goes. Yeah, so it will be valid from 1st of November till plus 3 months. Now, can you apply for a visa and say, listen, I want that visa to start from 1st of March? I'm not sure. I think the rule is 45 days plus from the date that you came.
So 45. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, and we have another one. This is in our chat, and one of our producers is asking, is there a list of documents people should get ready to take to Russia with them? I believe you have a list of documents on your Moving to Russia site, right, Timur?
I don't think we have like a full list, but I can go through them right now. Yeah, so basically the documents should be a passport, valid enough. There is no actually, let's say, I'll put it this way. In order to receive a visa, the passport has to be valid at least 6 months more than the expiration date of the visa. Yeah. So in this particular case, with a 3-month single event entry, a general answer at least plus 9 months. Okay, but passport validity is irrelevant when a person comes to Russia and applies for this 3-year residency. Yeah, your passport can expire next day, but you can still apply for temporary residency and it will be accepted. And then once you get your new passport, you'll get your temporary residency in the new passport. So it is less important from the point of view of immigration, but there is this 6 months rule validity at the consulate. But if we think about it from a different point of view, like you still would need some time to extend your passport. Okay, where would you do it? You can do it in your consulate in Russia, potentially, if consulate will do it. Or you would need to exit and then apply for a new passport abroad. And there are certain peculiarities paperwork-wise, how to do it better. Then there are certain peculiarities from the point of view. Maybe, Kevin, you can add to this, or Eddie. I don't know how American embassy in Russia, whether they work for American citizens full services, or their services are limited only for emergency cases, or you can still get your passport. A couple years ago, I knew that you could get only an emergency passport, which is 1 year. You couldn't get like your full passport. I don't know the status right now. They cannot, of course, say for all of the countries on this list.
Yeah, the current status is the U.S. Embassy in Moscow will only make an appointment for an American for an emergency passport, they call it. However, they aren't responding to emails and phone calls. And if you do get somebody, they recommend that you go to Poland to renew your passport. But I do know that people can go to Armenia and renew their passport as well.
Yeah, they can go to any country pretty much. So passport is number one. And also, even if it's valid enough, it has to have at least, we counted 5 blank pages. Yeah, because one page you'll get the visa, another page you'll get a temporary residency permit stamp, another page you'll get a 3-year residency visa in Russia, and another page you'll get a registration stamp. So at least 5 pages every member of the family has to have empty. Then other documents. For kids that are minors, you definitely need birth certificates. And they have to be apostilled. Birth certificates and passports. Yeah. If the couple is married, you'll need an apostilled marriage certificate. Yeah. Do adults need birth certificates for that particular immigration process? No, they don't. But if they want to apply for Russian citizenship years after, yeah, they would need birth certificate for applying for citizenship, let's say in 7 years. Yeah. But for adults, their birth certificates are not necessary for that particular process. Then other documents that we would advise to have would be any documents confirming the source of your money. I know you sold the house, you need those documents. They don't need to be apostilled. They just don't bring them with you electronically in any way so that you can have them once you would need them. Yeah. Such documents as, I don't know, diplomas are not required unless you are a medical professional, then it will be required, because without the diploma you won't be able to be employed in Russia. So for certain type of jobs, we believe the diplomas have to be taken, and then there is a whole process to do it, to not nostrify them in Russia unless the school or university or college is not on the government list. Then IDs, they're not required in Russia. Driver's license, yeah, you should take them because it's your personal documents, but for immigration purposes, they're not required. Then another thing is, of course, the criminal background checks. Yeah, those documents have to be apostilled. They need to be, you need to get those. Okay, I will comment on quite frequent question: what if I had a drunk driving violation? Yeah, 20 years ago. Because quite a few Americans, for whatever reasons, are stopped while they're driving drunk. I don't know, in their youth. Yeah. So that's not a deal breaker. The deal breaker is drugs, for sure. The deal breaker, according to the Russian law, would be if a person was in jail for more than 3 years. That potentially can be a deal breaker unless you have that expunged. But it's all case by case. The minor things, no, those won't be a deal breaker. Also, what's important, if you have dual citizenship, you need to bring both passports. And I have to say, you need to get from both of the countries background checks. Until June this year, Moscow immigration authorities did not request background check from the second, third country of your citizenship. They were only requesting it from the country based on which passport you entered and based on which passport you applied. But as of June, they started to request it, and they were like literally saying it was always the requirement. We're like, no, it wasn't. In other regions, it was. But you played it a bit, more logically. What is the logic behind that? If a person has 3 citizenships, try to get 3 background checks that do not expire within 90 days. It's a task. It's pretty hard to do that. Yeah. And basically your logic was, okay, we stick to the citizenship based on which the person entered Russia. We like that practice, but now I think it has changed. So the advice is to get background checks from all the countries of your citizenship. In a nutshell, I think I didn't miss anything.
So one question, this is from one of our producers actually, so it's in my name. On the passport, when they get them translated, and I know this goes to a further question on this, the translation should be done in Russia and they have to be notarized, correct?
Correct. In Russia.
Yeah.
Don't do translations abroad in the consulates and local notaries. We had cases when a person translated in Czech Republic at the local notary to Russian. I mean, it's worthless in Russia. You need to do all the translations in Russia. The travel stamps in the passports do not need to be translated. It just has to mention that there are entry stamps, but no translation. Visas should not be translated. We had one time, a long time ago, we translated a Chinese visa, and not we, the translators translated the Chinese visa, and I'm standing in front of the counter and cannot understand why the lady in immigration office is thoroughly checking like everything on that visa, and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, well, you translated this visa, now I have to check it. Yeah. If you would just say that it's Chinese visa, I wouldn't check it, but why did you do that? There are other, of course, peculiarities in how the passports have to be translated, but I mean, it's an hour talk on those peculiarities.
Okay. One of my producers is asking, would it be okay to ask Timur to confirm that for countries where a person is no longer a citizen, there is no need for a criminal record check? And I know this particular case is this person used to be a citizen of the United States. They renounced their citizenship, went through the process to eliminate that. So do they need a background check from the United States?
No, they don't. They don't, but they need to, like in the application form, they need to write specifically the date, why, all those things, when the United States citizenship was lost. Potentially, if there are documents confirming that, which I would assume those people will have them, like in the frame. So those documents potentially should be also provided, but in general, no, you don't need to provide background check on that.
Okay. So might as well go with them, Eddie.
Yes.
Can Americans still apply for the 3-year tourist visa with no intention to a path towards citizenship? He's a vet and worried his benefits will stop if he becomes a permanent resident. I'll let you talk to the tourist visa part, Timur. I can actually talk to the benefits part because I have experience with it.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to ask you as well, to cover the second part. Yes, you can apply for a 3-month tourist, 3-year tourist visa. Of course, no problem. Nothing changed on that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And as far as your benefits, they will not stop because you take residency in a foreign country. The United States actually knows that I am located in Russia. I at one point had my benefits blocked temporarily because they found out that I was no longer living in the United States because I had gone to one of the nearby embassies for some services. and is what I had to do to unblock it. It just took me a few days, as I had to email the Social Security and Benefits Department of the U.S. government in Poland and basically just give them documentation of where I lived. They updated their records. The IRS updated their records. So now I'm officially listed as a resident of Russia, and I still get my benefits.
Well, it's good to know that, I mean, being an American citizen, regardless of where you reside, not only you are taxed, but also you can get your pension.
You can get your pension, so the U.S. can try to collect the taxes from you.
Wait a minute. You pay taxes on pension?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Wait,
unlike Russia, correct?
I'm not a tax lawyer, but how is that? Like, it's your pension. How do you pay tax?
It's in the law.
Wow. If it's over a certain amount, you have to pay on it. Whatever I think it's like $24,000 a year. So basically, if you get over $2,000 a month, you have to pay taxes.
Out of my curiosity, does it differ from the tax itself? Does it differ from state to state, or it's a federal one?
It's federal.
It's a federal tax, and then the U.S. states, it varies from state to state, but you have to pay tax on that as well. So as a Colorado resident, I have to pay 3% of my pension as an income tax. Florida residents don't have to pay anything because they don't have a state income tax. California, they get to pay 13%. And on top of the federal taxes.
And the federal rate is what's the amount?
It varies depending on the level of how much money you earn. It's a tiered system.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Glad we can teach you something once in a while.
Yeah, there is a lot to learn, of course.
Okay, this question, do you know any requirements for documents regarding bringing a pet, aside from the vaccination status? Is there a quarantine time for pets, or are they allowed in right away?
I think Russia doesn't have any particular type of different from international rules on pets. I don't remember about any quarantine for now. I'm pretty sure, again, that's not my area of expertise, but I don't think there is any quarantine. But yeah, you need to have international travel pets passport, or whatever it's called, travel or not travel, but international pets passport, and some vaccination. I think there should be.
I can answer this question because I brought a pet into the country as well as Kevin. So Putin to Pelmini Pathways, if you would like to send me a message, I can answer and give you more clarification on that.
As can I.
As can Kevin.
There is a gotcha for Americans on their pets. You need to make sure that they are ISO compliant chips in them, because the United States has 3, what do you call them, Eddie? Proprietary chips that do not have the full 10 digits that are required.
Yeah, send me a message to on my Telegram, and I'll give you more info on that.
Should I
go ahead?
Yeah,
Eddie, read it out.
Where is it? Oh, okay. Timur, tell a bit about the. I'm reading something else.
We have a producer. We're not used to that. We're lost with somebody handling this.
What about the pilot regions for foreigners like Nizhny Novgorod? And where are foreigners supposed to live and be registered? It is really difficult to find a place.
Okay. Nizhny Novgorod region, in my opinion, is a unique region because of its amazing government and governor himself. And why I say that is because I've been going there for the last 9 months and working there for the last over 3 months. And what I can say is that nowhere in Russia, although I like many places, but nowhere in Russia I could feel such a support from the government. And what I mean is that they're very much focused on getting things done. Of course, we all know there are many problems, because we discussed that Russia was never focused in the at least its modern history to bring foreigners. So but now the governor has said, listen, we need to bring foreigners. And the problem is the following. Like, when I compare to other regions, and some other regions were saying, listen, we would like to bring foreigners, how it will happen? Okay, there is a governor. He will ask all of his ministers to sit on a round table and will say, okay, bring me the foreigners. Well, the problem is that they won't be able to do it. All of the ministers, they won't be able to do it. The whole government, they will not be able to do it properly. Because there is not a single person in Russia as a one person. One person cannot answer all of the questions that a family that wants to move to Russia will face. Because you have immigration questions, you have, I don't know, registration questions, you have questions on how to bring goods, custom questions, taxes, how to send money. There are too many questions and there is not a single expert. Okay, some people, I try to the best of my ability, at least look into other areas which I'm not an expert, but it's a service. And this service exists in other countries, but it doesn't exist in Russia just because of the historical reasons. So Nizhny Novgorod, basically, what it does compared to other regions, or what we're at least trying to do there in the AK immigration agency, the way we structure our conversations with potential people that want to move to Nizhny is that we need to understand everything about the people, what they want to do. Do they want to be employed? Whether they are seeking employment or not seeking the employment? Because there are some people, they say, listen, we have enough savings, we just want to move to another country. Nizhny, why not? We've never been to Russia. Let's see, and we look for ourselves. As of now, I haven't met a single foreigner, regardless of where they came. Poland, Germany, United States, Canada, Australia, that were disappointed with the city. Because it's a very vibrant city for the last 5 years. I speak with the taxi drivers and I speak with the biggest developers there. And they all say, governor and government is just unprecedented. They are just so cool and so good. It's just everybody, like taxi driver says, yes, our governor is the best. And so what they're trying to do is that they want to bring the foreigners. But how we want to do it, we want to be the people that can take care of all those needs. And when we do the interviews, we try to find out what exactly the person wants. Of course, there are problems. Now with this new decree, a lot of problems have been eliminated, but there are still problems. And in this question, there is this, there is a problem that Russian landlords do not wish to register foreigners. 9 out of 10, if not more, they just don't want to do it. And the fact that the immigration authorities allow foreign national, after signing an official lease agreement, to register himself is helpful. But again, in a situation when the landlord wants to do it, but it doesn't want to do the paperwork, or is probably abroad, but in general, he is not against it. But if the landlord is against it and you go and do it, the landlord finds out that you did it, and most probably will be kicked out of the apartment. That problem still exists. We actually discussed that problem yesterday on a very high level in Nizhny. Because Nizhny doesn't have actually, let's call it a PVR. Yep, I mean, it's in Russian. well, those places for temporarily residents. Yeah, it doesn't have one. We tried to brainstorm what we can do. There are several options that short-term were discussed, and long-term potentially special, normal, something similar to 3-star hotels potentially would be built specifically for such people. But also there is another side to that. If a person is hired, and we already have several successful cases when local employers, we found them foreigners, and they started to work, then the employer basically takes care of or assists one way or another to find the proper apartment, and with the landlord that registers, so they may have apartments that are available at their nearby their facilities, etc., etc. So again, I can speak about Nizhny for a lot of time, but basically the idea there is that they are very willing to attract a lot of foreigners. And on my other channel, to where I would invite you, what I mean is the OK agency channel, I will be doing something similar when I know how to do this thing, the stream. The IT guys probably will advise me, but probably from the next week or the week after, we will provide more of interesting content. What foreigners are required in Asia. I will in a nutshell. When I read the strategy of regional development of Nizhny Novgorod for international strategy for development of Nizhny Novgorod, 70-page document, my mind was blown away what they plan to do there. And it a lot depends on the experiences of people. The touristic sphere will be booming. So as a spoiler, I can tell you that if there are people that are professionals in the hospitality and tourism, you would be more than welcome to Nizhny. And there would be other also kind of industries that would be developing, and definitely Westerners from those industries would be able to find employment or conduct businesses. It will be a happening place for sure. It is a happening place now, but it will be quite an attraction.
Can people who have approval for state relocation program but not activated the book apply instead under the new decree if they are citizens of a listed country?
It's a good question. My opinion, just on top of my head, yes, because you're legally in Russia, and if people, as we'll find out next week, on a tourist visa can apply for that, I think you can apply for that as well, but that has to be really discussed with immigration, because they might think about why not. I cannot think about why not, but they might come up with some idea.
Very good. So we have a question here from Growing Up Rosie. How can a landlord evict you while you have a 1 year or more lease if you register?
If it's one more, most of the leases that are signed are for 11 months and they are not registered. If it's a registered lease, then he cannot do it. But normally, if you read the lease agreement, it's for 11 months and 1 month notice.
So how do they register it?
If just by the law, if the lease is signed for more than 1 year, it has to be registered with the Rosregister, with the special registry, and then it's set in stone, kind of. But
okay.
I honestly, in most of the cases, foreigners, or not foreigners, landlords would propose an 11-month lease
to get around that.
Just not to register. Some time ago, registration of this lease could take a month. Now everything is very fast, so probably now it's not an issue just to register it. But the landlords, they are, some of them are afraid to register because they think a foreigner will have some rights for the apartment. Or now another thing came up. no, the foreigner is from unfriendly countries, Russian authorities would come and say, listen, oh, you have a spy here. So people are afraid for different reasons. The main was always, okay, if I register somebody, they will think that I'm not paying taxes. These are three main reasons.
So hang on a sec, Eddie.
Go ahead.
So since we were just talking about registering someone, and we talked about this a little bit, the problem for foreigners to find a rented house with registration, are there any organizations, or does your law firm or anybody else help people find these properties that they can stay in?
I think real estate agents can do that. We do not provide that service neither in my law firm. In Okab, we will be providing the service in Nizhny Novgorod. But what's the problem there? The problem there is that, let's say, a foreign national wants to come to Russia, from abroad. And you know how this market works. Whoever is first, whoever gets this thing. We cannot find an apartment if a person comes in a month, because it can be gone. Or the landlord will request a prepayment for this full amount, for this full month. That's one problem. And then just the problem of people say, no, we don't want to register. But like in Moscow, we do not do that. In Moscow, I actually need to share with you, there is a company that I think professionally owns about, this friend of mine told me today, they own about 1,000 apartments in Moscow, which they lease out. And because it's run by a company, they definitely provide registration. I actually never heard of them, but it does exist, and they give you it either as a service apartment on a daily basis, or if you want long term, they decrease the amount, and they provide the registration. And this friend of mine said, anytime you can get it. But I found out about this only today. So I will share it with you because, it is a problem for sure.
Okay. And then we'll share it with our viewers.
Mm-hmm,
I will say, somebody said I had to, since you were talking up your region, that Aksanov is also a great governor.
No, there are great governors for sure. For sure, there are. I'm not saying that he's the only one and all the rest are not good governors. Absolutely, he's the great governor. There are other governors, very good. It's just a matter of, again, my opinion, like Russian immigration authorities are also doing a great job, by the way. From what point of view? They created this VGUP PVS. You heard of this Federal Government Unitary Enterprise Passport and Visa Service. It's basically located in every region. It's something similar to Sakharova, but Sakharova is governed by MFC and Moscow government, and all of the other regions, there is this special unit, as a physical location, a center, immigration center, which is actually governed by the Ministry of Interior. But it's a kind of half commercial enterprise. But it's very similar to Sakharova immigration, but much smaller, in the regions.
Mm-hmm.
So they provide pretty much the same services as Sakharova provides. You go there, you can do the medicals in one place, you can do like Odintsova. It's this PVS group. They are located in all the regions. So you can do the medicals, you can do, in some notary services, photos, you do everything there. You pay your state fee. They even fill out your application form. It's great. That's, what else can they do? But the problem is different. The problem is that you go there with your documents, but your documents are not in order. And they will tell you, sorry, but your criminal record expired. You have a mistake in the translation of your passport. You have apostille on your FBI from the state, not from the Washington, D.C., and all those things which a foreign national doesn't know. And they, of course, do not share this information anywhere, and they are not English speaking, and many, many other things. So there should be somebody that can, in order to successfully do it, can tell to a person or to a family before they arrive how their documents should look like in order to successfully file. And that's missing. That just doesn't exist. Nobody can provide that service on the government level. And regardless of how great the governor is, Russian authorities cannot do it. And they cannot do all the other things that are there. Yeah, like advice on customs, advice on I don't know, real estate options. All those things government won't be able to advise.
If an American wanted to join the Russian military, what paperwork and process is required, or can they just walk into a recruitment center with their passport?
I actually I wouldn't like to answer this question. Why? Because I know that there are Americans, and not only Americans, that are in the military. But I don't know how they got there. Yeah, because the process as it is on paper is very different from how they got there, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that there is something bad, good, etc. But the process is that if you do not speak Russian, you will not be. It's impossible to get you officially. I'm not saying that they are unofficially there. Yeah, but you go to the recruitment center. If you don't speak Russian, you will fail. They will just not accept you. Yeah, because for them it's just like, okay, how would you listen to the commands? Yeah, how would you? I don't know. For them, it's a deal breaker. Yeah, we tried. Yeah, because Sakharova has enlistment point. Okay, we came to consult. They said no Russian language. Sorry.
So that would also fit into this question about somebody saying moving there sounds great, but would his family be immediately drafted? And I would say it's the same issue. If you don't speak Russian, you aren't going to be drafted, correct?
I think it's a bit of a broader even thing, yeah, because, okay, there are two things that people right now mix. Number one is that, okay, when a foreign national, and especially that's most probably applicable to families which have kids and their child is in the range from 18 to 30, yeah, and then that child gets Russian citizenship. And as soon as you get your Russian citizenship, you are basically required to be registered with the military военный учет, yeah, military like register. You need to go there and register. So there is two drafts which happen every spring and every autumn, and those drafts are for this 1 year service, military service. Yeah, as we know officially, those guys don't go to the nearest country. Yeah, they serve in the different areas. But okay, there was this thing what the neighboring country advanced, and those guys that were on the border, they were going through a regular service, not under a contract, and we all know what happened. Yeah, so those that go and serve their 1 year, they don't go there. Yeah, but that's of course can happen. What I mean is that if they're in the age from 18 to 30, they could be required to serve 1 year in the military, but officially not go in there. Yeah. Now, if we speak about mobilization, yeah, one time it happened. We know that officially we being said that it will never happen again, and we hope so. But my personal opinion, yeah, if let's say an American or somebody from the Western country, which are actually officially stated as unfriendly countries, I do not understand how would such a person be drafted, not drafted, mobilized. Just I don't understand how that's gonna happen, because okay, if especially you don't speak Russian, how that's gonna happen? Like, what if you're a spy? Who would in the army be responsible for you if something happens?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why would mobilize, let's say, an American that also just acquired Russian citizenship? For what?
So we have a special guest joining us. Moscow settler. I was actually waiting for him to doze off or something, and I'd put him on screen drooling. But welcome, Daniel.
Hello, everyone.
Daniel,
Timur, добрый
What's
вечер.
going on, Dan?
добрый.
No, everything's good. Everything's good. Just enjoying the lovely weather in Moscow. Absolutely wonderful for September. How are you guys?
We're doing good. So, Timur, are there any special programs for seniors coming to Russia? Senior citizens, pensioners?
That you can use this decree. Now it substituted everything else.
I don't really have questions for Timur. I have more of advice. Because I'm living here now almost 14 years. And Timur helped me tremendously I would ask him questions a lot, and he would always answer. He was always there for me. My wife helped me through the process of getting my temporary and then my permanent and then my citizenship. But I would always once in a while text Timur, and he would give me the best advice on which route to go. But when I came, it was 2012. It was a different time. Actually, I'm so very impressed on the process now. When you go to MVD or My Documents, or if you go down to the immigration center, everything is the process is so much more efficient and comfortable. But for anyone who's looking to come today, to Russia, I highly recommend hiring Timur, going to Eddie and Kevin to their websites. It's a whole different situation now. Everything what's going on with sanctions and the SMO. So I highly recommend first of all, I recommend you just come and visit. Come and visit first.
Yeah.
Come and visit first, because I'll tell you, 2009, I came for my 40th. And then I came in 2010. And I knew in 2009, my first visit, I said, you know what? I'm going to live here someday. I didn't know when, but I said, we are going to live here. My wife is Russian. We met in upstate New York. We lived in Long Island together for 11 years. When my son was born, I asked my wife to move to Russia to raise our children here. But come and visit the region, the city, or the area that you want to possibly live, and then hire a lawyer, an immigration lawyer.
Well, we're a little opinionated here, so hire Timur and Vista Immigration.
No, there are other guys. Come on.
But Timur, let me ask you a question. You're based out of Moscow. You can work anywhere in Russia.
Well, right now 2 days I spend in Moscow and 3 days I spend in Nizhny Novgorod in the immigration agency, government immigration agency there. So my priority is to bring everyone to Nizhny. Yeah, but if somebody else wants to reside in Moscow for obvious reasons, Russia is so huge in other locations, we can give our best advice. We can prepare the applications. But as of now, we cannot guarantee that the documents would be accepted by the regional immigration officials from the first try. Yeah, because for us, it's all about not whether we will file or not file. Yeah, for us, it's whether we will file from the first attempt or from the second. Of course, I mean, we play the game with immigration. They do everything not to accept from the first attempt, and we try to make it happen from the first attempt. So we can do it in every region, I mean, because the legislation is federal, but we cannot promise or guarantee that it will be accepted from the first attempt in, say, St. Petersburg, yeah, because there is some lady, for example, or their way that they fill out the application is different from the Moscow one.
Okay, but how does it work in Russia? Like with your license, you can work anywhere in Russia?
Well, in Russia, actually, we do not have like a bar or license. Yeah. So honestly, anyone can provide that service. There is no
Okay.
Okay, I'm a lawyer, so at least that gives some comfort to people. Yeah, but it can be an agency, it can be anyone that can provide that service. In Russia, it's only when you go to court, like criminal cases, you need to be an advocate. Yeah, and the lawyer has a diploma, but we're not admitted to any bar or license. Yeah.
Okay.
Unlike like I had this situation when I know quite a lot of American immigration lawyers, because there is AILA, American Immigration Lawyer Association, and I know like a lot of people there personally, and they have different chapters. So they decided to create an international chapter because lawyers from all over the world will go into the events, and they said, okay, let's create an international chapter, and there you will find lawyers from all over the world. And in order for me, they asked me, okay, listen, we invite you, will be the first one from Russia. And in order for me to be enrolled there, I had to have this advocate's license, which I don't. Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty hard to get one, and it's not in my not in my intention to be an advocate. And they, with all the connections, knowing the boss of AILA, they said, sorry, but we cannot. They said, okay, maybe you have a friend that is an advocate. He will join. You put your email address. Yeah. I said, okay, but thanks for the invitation. So it's in Russia, it's not like that for this, like immigration, it's not that governed yet.
Right.
So let me cut in just for a second. I consult with Timur on a lot of things, but if you need somebody, if you're coming to Crimea and you need somebody who knows the ladies at immigration, you can, I get right one of these days where the hand is. You can make an appointment with me down here. My wife and I do this. We are not lawyers. I do have a law degree from the United States, but so we can help you with those introductions to the ladies and the dance with them that Timur was talking about.
I see a lot of, well, not a lot, but I see throughout the chats talking about registration, getting registered. We're in Moscow. Our whole time in Russia, we're in Moscow. And we've, in the 13 years, we've lived, I think, in probably 4 or 5 flats in our neighborhood. And every time we spoke, our first question to the people who own the flat, we tell them that we need to be registered. My wife is from the Urals, so her permanent address is there. Her and the children have permanent address there. So every year, as Russians, they have to register so they can go to school and the clinics and the hospitals. And in my case, before I got my citizenship, I needed to register. But just for people to understand, it's very important that you make it clear that you need to be registered, because I see sometimes in the chats that people move into a flat and then they're not able to get registered.
Right.
Timur, would you recommend adding that into the contract, the rental contract, saying that they will register?
Absolutely, yeah. They have to do it. The landlords are obliged to do it by the law. Yeah.
They are by the law. Okay.
They are obliged to do it by the law. Yes, but they won't. If you, as I said, 9 out of 10, when you bring this question up, they will just refuse to even lease you the apartment. They'll say, next, we'll just lease it to Russia.
Right.
Gentlemen, we are right at about an hour, and we're going to have to wrap this up fairly soon. And so we've got some questions that we can just kind of roll through them and get some quick answers to. Timur, there should be guidance for foreigners. You can upload it on your channel, Moving to Russia, legal aspects. Do you have any such information already on your website?
We do have a lot of information. It's just honestly, I think, how to say, when we provide all this information, there's always a question that comes up. Something that we didn't even think about, and it would be a proper, interesting, cool question. It will appear one day, but whether it will be like I don't know, 100-page document, or whether it will be a bot, or whether it will be artificial intelligence, I don't know. But something, of course, we work on that, but it takes a lot of time.
Right.
Can I just make
let me make a quick plug here for Timur, because I actually have to cut out. I'm on my lunch break from my job. So Timur, if you can talk a little bit about the work it takes, the filing the documents, translating them, the services that you're providing as a lawyer, and why somebody should pay you to help immigrate rather than trying to do it themselves. And Timur and I actually talked about this earlier. We're, between me, Timur, and Eddie, we're going to develop a price list or an offer of services, and we'll get that for you guys. But Eddie and I run into this all the time, and questions about why do you guys, why does Timur, why do they charge us to help us?
Well, I'll be very brief. I was on one of the events where real estate agents were, and one guy made a wonderful marketing case. He said, I'm a real estate lawyer in Florida, and obviously there are thousands of me, but I published a 77-page document how to buy real estate in Florida on your own without a real estate agent. First of all, it became bestseller. Number two, when people read it, they said, we go to this guy. Like it's so hard, we'll go to this guy. I do not like to promote or sell my services, but somebody who did it on their own, or just like you guys, you met with the Russian immigration system. You understand that there is a lot of things, and especially if you not only focus on just the paperwork, which is also like a crazy thing by itself, but again, we try to look at the broader picture. We try to understand, okay, what are the needs? Now, billion people can enter Russia, because this country, if you calculate the number of billion people can enter Russia. Okay, we would like to understand who is coming, why, what they're gonna be doing. When a person writes, I will just get me this visa, I'll go and work in Russia, like for me, it's not a proper answer. For me, that requires another question, and then another question, and then like getting all this information out. And that's why I apologize to everyone. Sometimes I delay my replies by a week. So sorry for that, but it's just a lot of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Timur. And I agree, Timur rocks.
Okay, guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much. I thought we were speaking about some important information, breaking, but just providing content and not advertisement.
No. So we have a question here. I'm a dual citizen, 2 Commonwealth countries. Husband is also a dual citizen, EU country and Commonwealth. Would keeping their citizenships be allowed?
Yes.
Short answer, yes. Okay.
I like those answers.
Yes. Are various regions actively promoting their towns and concurrently offering support services to newcomers, such as helping them find housing and providing other orientation?
I can say about several regions which are thinking about this and have some programs that they are trying to promote, but they mostly focus on compatriots. Yeah, those that have Russian roots, or ideally speak Russian. Yeah, so that would be Kaliningrad, that would be Kaluga, that would be Omsk. I heard of Yekaterinburg. They also are very, very keen to kind of be in that circle. But very soon, as of next year, that would be done by all of the regions. Want they or they don't want, they'll have to do it because of this presidential decree. They'll have to do it. All of the governors of all of the regions will have to deal with that thing as we are discussing it right now.
And not all of Crimea does that, but the city of Yalta does.
It's good to know.
And growing up, Rosie wants to know where you're located, Timur.
Right now in Moscow, Monday to Wednesday, sometimes Monday to Thursday in Nizhny Novgorod.
Perfect. And what other question do we have? Why have Russia not limited access under the new decree only to the regions that really need people?
I don't know how to answer this question, honestly. I don't know because we need people everywhere. Yeah. Okay, Moscow. Yeah, Moscow is probably too big, but all other regions, I think we're short of 5 million people just job-wise. But from the point of view of how many people we need for such territory, yeah, we need 500 million, 500 million we need, yeah, for that territory.
Right.
In order not to be dissolved as a country in 50 years. But we need the quality people.
So before you move on to this one, Eddie,
Yes. Go ahead.
I am going to give special thanks to our producers who you guys do not see. It makes our lives much, much easier because they gather your questions for us. They put them on the screen. So thank you, Jay and Timothy, for your time. And I've got to go back to work. So I'm going to leave you guys finish things up as you go. So
Thanks.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye, Kevin.
Bye.
We will wrap up these questions here if we can. So this one, Edelwolf has, if you could speak to the driver's license, will an international driver's license do if somebody wants to drive in Russia?
Yes, international driver's license will do. You just need to translate them. By the law, the kickoff point when you need to change your driver's license or not to change or get a Russian driver's license is actually when you're a permanent resident. By the law, you have to kind of get the Russian driver's license, but I know people that kind of don't do it and still continue on their American, even not even international, but American driver's license. Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, until 1st of April 2025, there is this grace period where international driver's license or even national driver's license with there is a list, I think, where they can be just changed to Russian driver's license without passing the test. That's pretty much all I can say.
How about expired? How about if the license is expired?
I don't think it's possible then. You have to either get it before the new driver's license from abroad and be able to exchange them here before 1st of April next year, or try to pass the Russian driving test.
Very good. And the Russian driving test is in Russian language, yes?
Yeah.
Not offered in any other language. Okay, because we had a question on that. This question here, is it possible for a Yankee born in the USSR to become a Russian Federation permanent resident without fully moving to the Russian Federation to acquire a second passport?
Yankee means American citizen.
American, I believe. Yes.
Because I think Yankee is written a bit differently. But okay, it's the slang. Yeah, born in the USA, become a well, it's possible theoretically, but you will lose it if you don't stay in Russia for 6 months within a year. But again, if we okay, that's a long story. Yeah, if you were born in the USSR, it's important to understand. If you were born in Russia, then you can get a permanent residency by the fact that you're born in the USSR. But in Russia, you can get your permanent residency and right away apply for citizenship, get the passport, and in that case, not reside, have this requirement to reside in Russia for 6 months. Yeah, that's the condition. If you were born in USSR but in Kazakhstan, there are other rules that come into force.
Yeah. So then I would say to Tiered Labs, seek out information with Timur directly and get more information about that. All right, and we've got hello Timur. I think we spoke about this earlier. Which documents must be translated and apostilled? I think we already talked about that. They are not to be translated in the country you reside. They must be translated in Russia.
Yeah, the documents we covered. Yeah, please.
Yeah, we talked about that. And what else we got here? Would I need to drive commercially? Okay, this question does not belong here. And let's see if we have any other questions. Gentlemen, I think we are wrapping it up then, because I don't see any other additional questions. All right. Guys, thank you all so much for joining. And Timur, thank you for your invaluable time and your expertise on this subject, and for allowing us to share this information with everyone.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Have a good night, everyone.
Everyone, check on the links down below. Join our Telegram groups, and also there's the links to Timur's websites, all our websites. Seek out our information there, and we will see you next time. So be sure, like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time. Пока.
Bye-bye.